Hi, everyone, and welcome to another 10 to 20 with Tanya. I'm Tanya, and today we're going to talk about more English phrases. So I hear these phrases all of the time, and I write them down. I could say I jot them down. Let me put that in the comments here. I jot them down, which just means I write them down quickly. So you can say, I like to jot down phrases, or will you jot down your phone number, or let me jot down your address, or I'm just going to jot down a note about how to do that. I jot down English phrases that I hear that are interesting all of the time so that I can share them with you all. So, welcome, welcome. I see we have people joining us. Let me know if you are joining me. Say hello here in the comments, or try using this first phrase to jot something down in an example and put it in the comments, and I'll help you with it. This is a great way to practice writing and sentence structure in a class with a teacher who can help you with your mistakes. So go ahead and write down your example of to jot something down. Hello, welcome. It's great to see you all here. Okay, so the first phrase I want to share with you, where did it go? Is he had to toe the line. I jotted this one down on a paper that I'm going to let go of. I'm going to throw it in the trash so I don't lose it. He had to toe the line. So to toe the line. When we say somebody has to toe the line, it means they need to behave in a better way. They need to behave in a way that is correct. It means they have to do something exactly the way they were supposed to do it. So you might I'll give you an example. When I was a kid, we were expected to help with work on the farm. We were expected to work hard. And sometimes maybe we didn't work as hard as we should. One time I remember my brother, we were out in the fields picking berries, and we were supposed to pick a bucket of berries, and he didn't. And when my uncle came back to get us, I had a full bucket and my brother did not. And so we my uncle was very angry, and he said to me, "Your brother is really going to need to toe the line now." In other words, we always should do what we're supposed to do, but my uncle's really gonna be watching him to make sure he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He needs to toe the line. Can you think of an example? Can you think of a time when you might use this phrase? I heard it just recently, in a show, like on a television show. This is one I use all the time, probably at least 4 or 5 times a week, maybe more than that, and the phrase is to hold your horses. Have you ever heard this phrase, to hold your horses? It's a very common phrase. You may have heard of this one, to hold your horses. If you have heard of this phrase, give me a thumbs up or a yes in the comments. And I want you to think about, if you've heard it, how you might use it while I'm telling the meaning, which means it can mean stop, but it also can mean, usually we use it to mean slow down, you're going too fast. I use this a lot with my dog, even though she's not a horse. She loves to run as soon as I open the door. I have a leash on her, but she's running so fast, I say, "Whoa, whoa, hold your horses." And what I mean is, slow down, wait for me. Um, Sometimes when we're in a car and somebody is driving too fast, maybe we're nervous, we could say, "Oh, I'm kind of nervous. You're going so fast. Hold your horses, like slow down, slow down." Asma says to be at your pace, I think is what you meant to say, to be at, so to go slower. Hi, Sarah, welcome. This is a phrase you may have learned before. I see some people have learned it before. Do you use this phrase? Because we learn phrases and then we don't use them. So, what I want you to think about, especially if you learned this before, is practice saying it in several different examples. Some of you know that I practice speaking every day on my phone. I record myself speaking. And if I have learned a new phrase, I will practice saying it in several different ways on my phone. This would be a great way for you to remember this phrase, but also to make it a part of your language. So we've got 3 phrases so far: to jot something down, to toe the line, and to hold your horses. The next one is to face the music. To face the music. Have you heard this one? To face the music. If you've heard it, again, give me a thumbs up or a yes, or let me know that you've used it or learned it. I'm sorry. To face the music is something we say again when somebody is in trouble. I didn't hear these from the same person. But to go back to my example, when my brother was not doing the work he was supposed to be doing, we could say he had to face the music. My brother had to face the music when he wasn't, I made a mistake there, when he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to be picking berries and he didn't. So he had to face the music, which means he got in trouble. He had to face my uncle. He had to face the punishment that he got. He had to go through the punishment. He had to talk with my uncle about it. And trust me, it was not fun. Okay, Sarah, I guess to face the music is when you do something and take responsibility for your actions. Yes, Sarah, that is exactly right. And sometimes you have to face the music. In other words, you have to face the person that you didn't behave, or sometimes it's just life. You know, if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, if I have a deadline on Friday and I don't do anything all week long, and Friday morning comes, I have to face the music, which means now I have to do all of the work today. If I had done a little bit each day, I wouldn't have to face the music. If you have an example of this one or any of the other ones, put your example and I'll help you with your example. I'll help correct it so that you can get the experience of being in class here. This is one I hear a lot that I just like to correct. In English, I hear people translate this phrase directly from their native language. Like I will say to them, "Oh, how many people were at dinner last night?" And they would say, "We were 17." This is incorrect. We don't say we were 17. 17 people probably wouldn't come to dinner. That's my note that I have jotted down here. But let's say they say we were 5. We don't say we were 5. We say there were 5 of us. There were 5 of us. Especially if Spanish is your native language, you're going to want to remember this one, because when we translate it directly, it's not correct in English. So this is a great way to sound a little more natural when you're speaking, is to remember this phrase. And if you have learned it differently, you might have to repeat it several times to remember. Okay, this one, to stand out. I just saw a student of mine post something about this, which is interesting because I didn't know it was on my list here. And I saw a student of mine post something on his Instagram, and we talked about it in class today, in his individual class today. But to stand out is a phrasal verb. So it is a phrase. We call it a phrasal verb. It's a type of phrase. It has a verb and a particle. And it means that it's the opposite of blending in. Oh, I talked to 2 students about this week, now that I think about it. I think I might have talked about this on one of our other videos, now that I think of it. Great. Asma has an example here. There were 5 of us. That makes sense. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So that, pardon my dog there. There's a dog barking outside. Espy. Espy. Espy, quiet. Come here. Good girl. We'll see if that lasts. I'm not sure that's going to last. She can hear the dog barking, so I'm sorry about that. When we want to say something makes sense, we spell it like this. That makes sense. It means we understand. It makes sense. We understand. It's not confusing. Okay. I hope you could hear me with that dog barking. I think she's finished now. Are you finished barking? I think she might be finished now. Okay, so to stand out, I'm going to say this one again, partly because it's on my list, also because reviewing phrases helps. Did you know you have to hear and use a word or phrase many times before you own it? I say before you own it, which means it's yours. You can use it. It's a part of your language that you've learned. So to stand out, what my student wrote was, if you want to stand out, you need to stand for something. Which has two phrasal verbs in it. So if you want to stand out means if you want to be recognized, if you want people to notice you, if you want to not be like everyone else, then you need to stand for something. To stand for something means you believe in it and you back it, you support it. So, for instance, you might stand for a certain cause. You might stand for a specific political issue. You might stand for something that you support uh, in your community, in whatever it is in your life. Um, so as an example, Mother Teresa was once, it's a story that I love to refer to, but she stands for peace. She's passed away now, but she still stands for peace. She's so famous. She stood out so much. She's so famous. When we think of Mother Teresa, we still think of peace. She stood for peace. She stands for peace. All right. I hope that that was helpful. Okay. I have a couple more for you. If I say, can you give me the ins and outs? What do you think I mean if I say, can you give me the ins and outs of it? Can you give me the ins and outs? Or what are the ins and outs? What do you think I mean if I say, can you give me the ins and outs? Let me give you a little more content, or a little more context, I should say. If you ask me to work on a project with you, and I don't know very much about the project or what you want me to do, I might say, can you give me the ins and outs of that? It says, here's another example from a listener. If you want to stand out, you may need to hold your horses, toe the line, and face the music. I love that. I love that. Excellent. Asama says the summary. The ins and outs could be the summary. Yes, you're right. We think of it usually of the details. Can you give me the details? And you could be summarizing the details because you're not going to be able to give all of the details. That is an excellent way to say it. Sarah, can you give me the pros and cons? Yes, it's very similar to that. When we say, can you give me the ins and outs? Sarah, you are absolutely correct. We mean, can you give me the pros and cons? But typically, this saying the ins and outs has evolved to just mean the details or the summary in general. But it actually does mean the pros and cons. Can you tell me what the positive things are and the negative things are? Excellent, excellent, guys. All right. One more, and then we're going to wrap it up. Wrap it up is another one of my favorite phrases you've probably heard me say if you watch any of my videos or you've been in any of my group classes or workshops, because to wrap it up means to finish the class or meeting or whatever it is. But this last one, before we wrap it up, is to look on the bright side. Hopefully everyone here looks on the bright side of life, or to look on the bright side of the situation. We can use this in several different ways. If you know what this means, Yes, you're exactly right. I'm gonna try to pronounce your name. Jamila or Jamila? Did I get close? I'm not sure. Or Damila. I'm not sure. But you're right. To look on the bright side is to be positive or to be optimistic. See if you can write a sample, an example, I should say, of this phrase to look on the bright side. Um, I'll use some of the phrases we've already used. When my brother had to face the music, I could say to him, look on the bright side. At least you are not going to have to do this or this or this. Look on the bright side. You're still able to do this or this or that. See if you can write an example of this and put it in the comments. I'll give you an example while you're thinking of one. I have found that looking on the bright side of life, looking on the bright side of any situation, including difficult situations, has helped me to have a more joyful life. It doesn't mean that bad things don't happen. Of course they do, that's life. And sometimes I have to face the music, that's for sure. But looking at the bright side definitely has helped me to have a more joyful and a more peaceful life. So I want to thank all of you for joining me here today. We'll look at this last example and then we'll wrap it up. We missed the train, but hey, look on the bright side. We will get an extra day together. I love that example. Um, I use a similar example when we're stuck in traffic. We're stuck in traffic, but let's look on the bright side. We have great company together. Sarah, with the COVID-19 shot for little children, we can look on the bright side of the future. Yes, great example. Both of you, great examples. Be sure to write these examples down, even if you didn't write one in the comments, or if you're listening to the recorded version of this, write these examples down. You can go watch the recording here in just a few minutes, or if you're already watching the recording, you can go back, pause the video, write these examples down, and start using them and practicing them so that you can own them and have them as a part of your English repertoire, all the English that you know. All right. Again, thank you for joining me here today, and I will look forward to talking with you again in another 10 to 20 with Tanya. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.